spared the worst.
It's getting a little bit slippery. It's not as bad right now, but it's getting there, though.
The freezing rain still creates headaches in this city and beyond. Power outages in Gatineau, with more weather to come and a temperature drop on the way. Sparks fly. Viewer video documents the latest problem to hit LRT as eastbound trains were stalled on the track during the worst of the weather, prompting replacement bus service into the afternoon commute. And fighting for the best option for her child.
Grace is being punished because her older sister has a disability.
An Ottawa mom speaking out after her 3-year-old was denied a chance to enroll in a nearby French public school.
The sounds of the storm today, a thin layer of ice blanketing the capital as that freezing rainstorm goes through the region, disrupting travel on the roads, rails, and at the airports. Good evening. We begin tonight with the latest on the blast of winter weather hitting the capital. Although the storm may not have been as bad as Environment Canada predicted, it is making for a slick evening commute home across the city and causing chaos on Ottawa's transit system. Taking a look at the radar, the worst of the storm has been hitting us for the past couple of hours, and a mix of rain and freezing rain is expected to continue overnight. As we take a live look now through our sky cam, it is -1 out there in Ottawa, with rain in some form continuing to come down as it has most of the afternoon. We have full coverage tonight of the impact of the storm so far, including the traffic disruptions, the partial LRT shutdown, power outages in the region, and the cancellations at the Ottawa airport. As we take a live look now at the evening commute on the Queensway, there were fewer people out there on the roads, but there are people now making their way to the game at the Canadian Tire Centre, and the worst could be yet to come. The morning commute is expected to be messy, with temperatures set to drop overnight. When it comes to hydro outages, there were no major ones right here in Ottawa today, but there are thousands of people currently without power in the Outaouais region in Quebec. As of 5 p.m., more than 7,700 addresses in the region had no power, but in just the last few minutes, that has jumped to more than 15,000 without power, the bulk of which are in Gatineau. In this city, the storm is having the biggest impact on the transit system. The LRT, unable to handle freezing rain, Line 1 is still partially shut down tonight after 2 trains became stuck, and on at least one of them, the overhead power line sparked and exploded before falling off. CTV's Leah Larocque joins us live from Lees Avenue near the stuck trains. Leah.
Well, Patricia, if you take a look behind me, you will see the stalled train. It's been here for several hours. There was a second train that was stopped further east on the track. It has since been moved, but there is very clear damage to the overhead wires. OC Transpo says that they did do preventative measures last night to help in conditions like this. They put de-icing fluid on the wires. They also, the trains had special equipment on it to help it move better in conditions like this, but clearly Ottawa's transit service was no match for what Mother Nature had in store today.
Sparks flaring off a train stalled on the tracks near Lee's station. The overhead wires damaged and snapped in at least one spot, halting all eastbound service and much of westbound.
The train stopped here. Doors were open for a little bit, probably like 5 minutes. The guy came on the announcement and said, this train's heading back to Rideau, so anyone who wants to get off here.
Lowick Kaza was one station behind when this happened.
I just want to go home. It's kind of cold. I'm wet, you know. Just want to go home, shower, get a change of clothes, you know.
We got off and we've just been waiting again for like 20 minutes-ish.
2 trains left sitting on the tracks under a layer of freezing rain. It isn't clear what exactly happened.
It's early, but it does appear that it's likely related to the weather. And, you know, when you get into these extreme weather events with the freezing rain, you know, it's a challenge, you know, for overhead catenary systems like we have here.
I hope I don't have to wait too long because obviously it's raining outside. I have
work soon.
After more than 20 minutes of waiting and no word about what was going on, there was an announcement that came on and said that R1 service was going to be available for anyone who needed it.
This time's going to Tunney's. I'd recommend going to Rideau and taking the R1 bus service.
Staff directing passengers to get onto R1 bus service, but others like Maya Duetta called an Uber.
It's $11. I'll pay it because I have to go, but I'd rather do it for free. But
the freezing rain only adding to this miserable commute that some have come to expect on Ottawa's transit service.
Fares go up, the taxes go up, but it's like the service goes down.
Like one problem after another, and now another issue.
we have a midterm to go to because it wasn't canceled, but all of OC Transpo to get here was. So it's cold and it was a long walk, but...
Now, if this seems familiar, you would be right. Back in January of 2023, there was a very similar shutdown in pretty much the same area. That was because there was a slow start to clearing methods, and then there was ice buildup on the wires overhead, as we said, pretty much here now. That shutdown lasted 6 days. It isn't exactly clear how long this one will last, but in a memo late this afternoon, OC Transpo says that crews will be working overnight tonight and tomorrow, so you would expect to use R1 bus services likely tomorrow for your morning commute. Patricia.
No fun to be a commuter out there on public transit today. Leah, thank you very much for this. CTV's Leah LaRocque reporting live for us. We want to go to Jackie now with a look at the forecast and when we can expect all of this to be done, Jackie.
Well, it really depends, right? That precipitation, Patricia, has really moved through most of here in eastern Ontario, really sticking around the Quebec area. There still is a freezing rain warning in effect and a rainfall warning for much of the province. But good news is that it has lifted for parts of southern Ontario, the rainfall warning, so we can anticipate that these watches and warnings will move out by the time we get closer to the midnight hour. Here's a look at what we are tracking for this storm. Around this hour, we could start to see that heavy rainfall really moving through our area. The yellow indicating that there could be a chance for some isolated thunderstorms as well. So we are keeping a very close eye on this. It won't quite hit here in Ottawa, but it will skip over and move along the Hawkesbury, Montreal area. Temperature-wise, as we are looking right now, sitting around -1 for here in Ottawa, around 1 degree in Kingston, and really for Montreal and Montreal, temperatures sitting around -2. Overnight conditions getting to about 0, possible freezing rain as well, but the wind gusts are going to start to pick up. We'll have a closer look at this forecast for you and much more in just a bit. Patricia.
All right, thank you, Jackie. Well, many Ottawa residents certainly breathing a sigh of relief tonight. The storm was not as bad as forecasted, but there were still plenty of closures and cancellations across the capital today. CTV's Tyler Fleming is live in studio with more. Tyler.
Yeah, Patricia, icy rain moved in late this morning and hasn't really stopped. And cold, gusty winds aren't helping, creating slick surfaces and travel headaches. Rain, heavy at times, icy pellets and 50-kilometer-per-hour blasts of wind makes for a day that's simply
miserable, yeah.
Environment Canada issuing an orange weather alert.
A very significant event, and it's something that occurs at this time of the year when you get this mix of warm and cold air duking it out.
And its impact is being felt across the city. At the airport, dozens of flights canceled.
The flight got canceled yesterday. And then we were booked this morning, and of course it all got tangled up, and I didn't get on.
Meaning it's back to the hotel for Rocky Talk.
I'm living in Newfoundland. I left home on Monday, so I won't get into Iqaluit till tomorrow.
VIA is also warning of possible delays. As daytime temperatures cooled, rainfall quickly froze. Crystal Stevenson's jacket, now a coat of ice.
This is a lot of, ice right now.
But her buddy Coda still needs a walk.
Not been the funnest time. But no school.
While Ottawa schools remain open, buses were canceled. Ice layers are building up in some places. You can see it on street signs.
It's getting a little bit slippery. It's not as bad right now, but it's getting there, though.
So Trevor Bailey is salting his driveway, but the city says main roads may not need it yet.
We're in a range of +1 to +3 right now on the ground temperature, which is saving us from that ice buildup.
But this weather seems very unpredictable.
So right now, city crews are salting sidewalks and priority roads as a preventative measure, but appears a widespread damaging ice storm like in April 2023 has likely been avoided, Patricia.
Still hoping I can skate home behind the dogs tonight, Tyler. Thank you very much for this. CTV's Tyler Fleming live for us this evening. We do have extended coverage of the freezing rainstorm. There are more stories online at ctvnewsottawa.ca.
Still ahead, a new biosensor more efficient and more effective at detecting Lyme disease could let you test from the comfort of home. More on an Ontario innovation coming up.
An Ottawa mother is speaking out tonight after her youngest child was denied the chance to enroll at her neighborhood French public school. It's because of a policy that states the eldest child in the family has to be assessed. But the eldest child in this family has a brain tumor and limited vocabulary. CTV's Katie Griffin is here with more on this. Katie.
Patricia, the family says given the unique situation, they're hoping an exception can be made and say birth orders shouldn't determine eligibility.
Grace Jewett loves to read, play, and dance.
She's a bright kid who learns quickly.
Mom Julie wants to enroll Grace in kindergarten at their local French public school this fall, something she says the board has denied.
Just the fact that they are only considering enrollment by birth order is cruel when your first child born has a terrible disease. You want more popcorn?
CTV has profiled Grace's older sister Lily before. Lily has a brain tumor and limited vocabulary. She's experienced a stroke, seizures, and vision loss.
The school board told the family its admission policy states the eldest child, in this case Lily, has to be evaluated. But Lily has a lot of complex medical needs and struggles in English. Her family says assessing her in French would be unfair.
Grace is being punished because her older sister has a disability, and her academic opportunities and her cultural opportunities in a francophone school are completely being taken away from her.
In a statement, the board says a final decision hasn't been made and that the situation will be treated with kindness, fairness, and take into account the rights and interests of those concerned.
If I were the school board, I'd be probably contacting the lawyers to get a legal opinion on this before refusing to at least give a kick at the can to this child. They're exposing themselves to a potential application for discrimination on the basis of disability and family status, and also to a charter litigation under Section 23.
Jewett hopes compassion prevails for an exception.
At the very least, I hope this gets people thinking and talking about how families who have children with disabilities are not given an even playing field as the rest of them.
And just moments ago, and a few hours after our story went up online this afternoon, the school board called Julie to set up a meeting for this Friday. They're now allowing Grace to be evaluated after all. Patricia.
Good news. All right, CTV's Katie Griffin live for us tonight. Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, every year across Ontario, teachers are spending their time and money buying supplies needed for their classrooms. Now the province is hoping to ease that financial burden by providing elementary school teachers with funds to cover the cost of necessary school supplies. CTV's Austin Lee is following this for us today and joins us with the details. Austin?
Well, Patricia, Premier Doug Ford made the announcement today in a Toronto area school. The province will be rolling out what it's calling supply cards worth $750 starting in September. This is something the Premier has promised for many months now, and he says he has encountered teachers in stores like Dollarama paying for supplies with their own money. The province says teachers will be receiving emails today asking them what kinds of things they would like to see made available for these cards. The government listed a few items: arts and craft supplies, paper towel, posters, and classroom decor, just a few examples. This summer, teachers will be able to go onto a website run by Supply Ontario to purchase items.
It's not us that is going to decide what the teachers need. It's the teachers that are going to decide what they need, because every class is unique. Every class may be different.
What we are going to do is bring the purchasing power of the entire province of Ontario together, offer more, offer it at a lot less cost, and let teachers go online for themselves to buy what they need for their classrooms.
Now, the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario is welcoming the news, but says the government should not be presenting this as a gift ahead of bargaining. The union says education spending is still not keeping up with inflation.
And I think it's more a statement of how badly this government has done with public education, that they feel like they need to say to teachers, we're going to give you the gift of being able to do your job, or being able to provide a Kleenex to a child when they have a runny nose, or paper to write on when you have an assignment that you want to put pen to paper.
Right now, this program is only being made available to elementary school teachers, but the province says it might extend to secondary school teachers in the future. The initiative will cost $66 million, and it will carry over into the next school year. Patricia.
All right, CTV's Austin Lee live for us tonight. Thank you. Well, the elderly woman who was struck by a vehicle in a parking lot earlier this week has sadly died of her injuries. Police were called to the South Keys Shopping Centre parking lot around 3 p.m. on Monday. The 83-year-old victim was initially brought to hospital with life-threatening injuries, but she has since died. Police continue to seek witnesses to the crash. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Fatal Collisions Unit. A New York man is facing charges in connection with a child luring investigation involving a 12-year-old from Ottawa. Police in Ottawa and New York worked together to execute a search warrant at a home in New York recently. Braden Bergfjord is now facing charges, and police believe there could be other victims. He allegedly used several usernames online, including Exio Royal, Earth Limits, Chrome Ditta, Purple World, and Cool J55. Well, turning now to the latest on the war in Iran, the conflict is quickly becoming an economic crisis as Iran targets vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, a key shipping route for 20% of the world's oil. And the volatility in the global energy market is expected to continue with no sign of the war coming to an end. Explosions rocking Beirut tonight after Israel began another wave of attacks on Lebanon. As airstrikes continue, the International Energy Agency has agreed to release 400 million barrels of oil from country's emergency stockpiles, the largest reserves distribution in history. CTV's Joy Malbon has more.
New video from Central Command shows the U.S. blowing up Iranian vessels suspected of laying mines near the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran has effectively closed the shipping lane, attacking more than a dozen oil tankers trying to pass, choking off the world's lifeline for oil, and sending energy prices soaring, triggering the largest release of emergency reserves thanks to oil-rich nations.
Our countries will be making 400 million barrels of oil available. I repeat, 400 million barrels of oil.
Canada helping to offset global shortages too.
Canada will do its part to contribute to the world's supply. That will bring prices down for Canadians. That will keep prices affordable for Canadians.
With the U.S. and Israel targeting Iranian military sites and Iran retaliating with a new wave of missile and drone attacks, President Donald Trump telling reporters,
right now, they've lost their Navy, they've lost their Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft apparatus at all, they have no radar, their leaders are gone, and we could do a lot worse.
The president promising to hit harder, but also saying the war is pretty much over.
Which is it? Is the war ending soon, or are we on the brink of the worst fighting yet?
Mixed messaging from Washington isn't going over well. Key Trump supporters like Joe Rogan publicly criticizing the war as a betrayal.
He ran on no more wars and these stupid, senseless wars, and then we have one that we can't even really clearly define why we did it.
With the new supreme leader, Iran insists it alone will decide the war's end, as the FBI now warns sympathizers or proxies could try to launch attacks on U.S. soil. Joy Malbon, CTV News, Washington.
And the war continues to impact gas prices here in the capital, but it looks like there is some relief on the way. Gas prices across the city were up by around 1 cent today, with prices at many stations hovering around $1.55 a liter. But you may want to wait to fill up if you can. Prices are expected to drop by 8 cents overnight. Stay with CTV News for continuing coverage of the war in Iran. For updates on radio, tune into News Talk 580 CFRA and CTV News Channel at any hour. Well, Mark Carney's Liberals are closer to forming a majority government after another floor crossing An NDP MP is ditching the orange for red, becoming the 4th member of Parliament to cross the floor in recent months. CTV's Kimberly Fowler is following this story for us today. Kimberly.
Well, Patricia, the Liberal government is now just 2 seats shy of a majority. Laurie Idlout is the latest floor crosser, but the first NDP MP to join Carney's party. This morning, the only MP from Nunavut was met with cheers, chants, and hugs from her new colleagues. Now, this scene very similar to when Conservative MP Chris d'Entremont joined the Liberals in November and was met with the same applause. Prime Minister Mark Carney was all smiles this morning as he introduced the newest member of his caucus.
Well, I'm very honored to welcome Laurie Idlout to our caucus. It is a great pleasure. One of Canada's greatest constituency MPs. You represent a riding that is the size of Mexico and very down to earth.
Like with any complicated issue, it wasn't just one thing that happened. There are a variety of many things that have allowed me to really reflect on this, and I'm very thankful to be so warmly welcomed.
But it's not all smiles for the NDP. Interim leader Don Davies says he's disappointed by the move.
I'm becoming increasingly concerned by the way that Mr. Carney is trying to stitch together a majority government in this country. Once again, to us, whether or not there's a majority government is fundamentally a decision of the Canadian people at the ballot box. And it should happen that way, not through backroom deals cut behind closed doors in Ottawa.
Idlout joins d'Entremont as well as former Conservatives Michael Maw and Matt Genereux as the latest floor crossers. And now that gives the Liberals 170 seats. And all of this comes before the 3 by-elections set to take place on April 13th, 2 in Toronto and 1 in Terrebonne, Quebec. Now, if the Liberals win in 2 of those by-elections, that would give them a majority government. Patricia.
CTV's Kimberly Fowler live for us tonight. Thank you. Well, confirmation tonight, there have been conversations between the Ottawa Senators and the PWHL around keeping the Ottawa charge in the city.
Thompson, who had the first penalty, thrown in front again, they score! Brienne.
According to a report from the Associated Press, PWHL's Senior VP of Business Operations, Amy Shear, is saying the discussion involves the charge playing home games at the Canadian Tire Centre, a much bigger arena than TD Place, which will be further diminished under a Lansdowne renovation plan. The PWHL is very much opposed to rink capacity being reduced and had suggested it would force the team to look at other options. The Sens in charge already have a friendly working relationship. The women will play Montreal at the Canadian Tire Centre April 3rd. Well, just ahead, we'll have more on the freezing rain hitting the region and what is in store for tomorrow. And Jackie, of course, keeping an eye on that as well. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Patricia. Taking a look, we have periods of rain mixed in with freezing rain within the next couple of hours. This should completely move through just after midnight, where we could see the chance of flurries. Now, this is a closer look at the outlook in terms of the freezing rain, how much is left over. We are going to be less than a millimeter by the time we get to the early hours of midnight into the early hours of tomorrow morning. But keep in mind, while the precipitation has cleared, those temperatures dropping could lead to icy, slippery conditions, especially for tomorrow morning's commute. Now, here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. We're showcasing Parliament Hill. Temperature right now about -1, and it will warm up around midnight to about 0, but then things will drop by the time we get to tomorrow morning.
Today's Snow Report brought to you by Some Edelweiss, where happiness falls from the sky.
Here is today's snow report, and it's going to be a quick one today. Not the best day on the ski hills. As you can see, all closed in our region, but there is good news for skiers on the way with more snow coming this weekend.
JS here again, reminding you where to find the best ski and ride conditions, the best snowmaking, the quickest lifts, and your favorite runs. Come ski with me at Some Edelweiss.
Well, a freezing rain warning still in effect for the region, but it may be tomorrow morning's commute you have to be worried about. As we take a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam, we are still seeing light freezing rain out there this evening, and that should continue for a bit, but then we're going to see a temperature dip, and it could be interesting again tomorrow morning. People were stressed about the morning commute this morning, enough, Jackie, that a lot of people did not bother with it, I think, after the buses were canceled. Tomorrow morning may not be great either.
No, and we're keeping a close eye on this. And it's so funny how just Monday, we were at double-digit temperatures and some sunshine.
I remember Monday fondly, yeah.
Quite the tease, though, because keep in mind, we're still in the early part of March as well. So winter is still here, ladies and gentlemen. That storm system really moving through eastern Ontario. Right now, temperature about -1, saw a daytime high of about 0, and the temperatures remained around this temperature for most of the day. It's going to continue into later this evening, so we are likely going to see more freezing rain rather than rain for the 7 o'clock hour. At midnight, this will transition to more periods of rain moving through, and then temperatures start to drop in the early morning from 4 a.m. -2, -3 around 7 a.m. during those commute times. You're also going to notice that the wind gusts are going to be picking up between 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. So keep an eye out for icy conditions on the road. You could actually see here the rainfall warning looking like it's going to be lifting in the next couple of minutes or so. The freezing rain warning, though, still in place. So this could be lifted by the time tomorrow morning rolls around. But as we look towards the valley, possible freezing rain mixed in with ice pellets still in store for the overnight. -8 the overnight low, -4 will be the daytime high. So we're not even hitting the freezing mark for our Thursday. Meanwhile, the seaway slightly warmer, but overnight with that rainfall, all in all, we are anticipating between 15 to 25 millimeters of rain. Tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies. 1 degree will be the daytime high. So this is quite the mix that we are seeing moving through. This is what's going to be left over, this gray, bluish pictures here and the colors here. That's the ice that we saw accumulate throughout the day. So not quite as much as we anticipated, but we really did see a lot of rainfall moving in. And then this will likely transition into snow by the time we get to Friday. More on that in just a bit. Tonight's overnight lows across eastern Ontario around -2, -4, slightly colder around Petawawa in the valley, about -8. And tomorrow's daytime highs hovering really around the freezing mark as we look towards the seaway. But meanwhile, Ottawa here and Pembroke -2, -4 degrees. So winter is not quite done with us just yet. Now here's a look at our 7-day forecast brought to you by Davidson Hearing Aid Centers, celebrating over 80 years in family business. -2 will average out our Thursday and Friday. The overnight lows also keeping up quite chilly, about -6 as we get into Saturday, where things will warm up to about the freezing mark. But you can see for the next several days, we are anticipating a mix of flurries, rain showers. It won't be until St. Patrick's Day, fingers crossed, that we will see the mix of sun and cloud. But I don't know if you can see that, Patricia, double take. -8 is the anticipated daytime high for St. Patrick's Day. I think previous years, people were in patio weather.
Yeah, maybe it's a good thing they had the parade earlier when it was actually warmer than what the actual St. Patrick's Day will be. Although, I could still maybe do a drink on a patio.
Why not?
Yeah, thanks.
That it's looking at the patient's immune response for evidence that it's seen the pathogen.
Well, coming up, in Ontario University developing a new device that could revolutionize the way Lyme disease is detected. Researchers at the University of Guelph are developing a new device that could one day change the way we are able to detect Lyme disease. Their work is being called a major breakthrough that could make Lyme disease testing much easier and available at home. CTV's Pauline Chan reports.
Diagnosing Lyme disease has been a challenge for decades. It's easy if you spot the telltale bullseye rash in the earliest stages of infection, but others will have to rely on a two-tier diagnostic test after other illnesses have been ruled out.
What that basically means is that it's looking at the patient's immune response for evidence that it's seen the pathogen.
So it doesn't detect the Lyme bacteria, only whether your immune system has ever reacted to it. If the bacteria has not been in your system long enough for an immune response, you'll get a false negative. And if you had Lyme long ago, but then had another more recent infection, the test is also useless. But a new device, known for now as the Lyme biosensor, promises to revolutionize Lyme testing by looking for the bacterium itself.
We see it as finding a needle in a haystack.
It's hiding. And so there's typically not enough material to trigger a positive on these biochemical or molecular assays. So that's why we've been stuck in this immunological model of testing for Lyme disease.
It only takes a fraction of a drop of blood for their test.
So that blood goes on a specially prepared surface. That surface scientific term for that surface is called semiconductor.
The semiconductor, like those used in electronic devices, is extremely sensitive, enough to detect the Lyme disease-causing bacteria, Borrelia burgdorferi.
The sensor is the product of an absolutely brilliant platform. The biosensing device itself was developed by Dr. Gil Shalev at Ben-Gurion University. I have a tremendous sense of optimism with this test. We want people to know that we believe it's possible for this type of intervention to come to market eventually and to make a big difference in the lives of Canadians.
It is still under development at the University of Guelph, but eventually they hope to have small biosensors widely available at hospitals and doctors' clinics. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
In tonight's Big Picture, an unexpected group of visitors showed up in the waters surrounding the Big Apple. A pod of dolphins found their way to the East River in New York City earlier this week. You can see them jumping in the water in the distance in this video. Experts are perplexed at why they travel to the area. They generally don't visit this close. It's believed this is the largest group of beaked dolphins seen there in recent history. Well, now some other stories you need to know right now. The issue of parking and closed streets sparking debate today as Ottawa City Council dealt with the new Byward Market plan.
We do hear from business owners that proximity matters when it comes to parking. They want there to be enough spots close to their businesses so that when people park, they're a short distance from their restaurant or their store. And so we want to protect that, and we heard from business owners.
The new plan delays the closure of William Street and its 22 parking spots for now. Councillor Ariel Troster pointed out there are more than 5,000 parking spots in the Byward Market area. But Mayor Sutcliffe says the city is listening to concerns from business owners. City Council approved moving ahead with the next steps in the $200 million redevelopment of the Byward Market. Travelers can now book a stay at the new Ottawa Airport Hotel. It has 178 rooms and is directly connected to the airport terminal. The hotel also has a restaurant, a 24-hour gym and workspace. It opened in the last week and is owned by Germain Hotels. The Canadian Kennel Club has released its official list of the top 10 most popular dog breeds for 2025. Topping the list for the 32nd consecutive year is the Labrador Retriever. The Golden Retriever and German Shepherd follow closely behind. This year, the Poodle unseated the French Bulldog to reclaim fourth spot. Rounding out the top 10 are the Australian Shepherd, Havanese, King Charles Spaniel, Bernese Mountain Dog, and last but not least, the Shetland Sheepdog.
I think it's great. I think it's overdue. It's something that's definitely needed for Findlay Creek.
South End residents are weighing in on a proposal to create a walking path to access the LRT at the Leitrim station. A meeting last night had area residents applauding the 500-meter walkway that makes it safer and more accessible. According to the city, it should be ready next year. Findlay Creek residents could stand to benefit the most.
Elias Pettersson takes a run at Pinto. Giroux goes down, makes a play. Zoop with a shot off a body. Here's Ridley Quick. He scores!
The Sens are back on home ice tonight after wrapping up their Western road trip on a high note earlier this week. They're coming off a 2-0 win against the Vancouver Canucks. The Sens hosting the Montreal Canadiens tonight at the CTC. Puck drop is 7:30. You can catch the game on TSN and TSN 1200.
We would not be able to touch his money until he was 60 years old. That was a shock to us.
Just ahead, why some families are raising concerns about accessing funds from a special savings plan to help Canadians living with disabilities.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
The Registered Disability Savings Plan, or RDSP, is a long-term savings plan designed to help those with disabilities save for the future. It was created in 2008, and while it's considered generous and one of the first of its kind in the world, some families say it could be improved. Here's CTV's Pat Foran.
This is Sebastian. Say hi, Sebastian.
Sebastian Correa of Toronto is 14 years old. He was born with a heart defect and had a heart transplant as a baby. His mother, Sandra Martinez, says while he's a happy boy, he faces many medical challenges.
Transplanted heart, the fact that he can't eat by mouth, the fact that he doesn't speak, the fact that he has autism.
Martinez says it was suggested they open a registered disability savings plan, an RDSP, for Sebastian so he would have money when he was older. They believe they could make withdrawals from the plan after 30 years, but recently found out they'd have to wait much longer.
We would not be able to touch his money until he was 60 years old. That was a shock to us.
The family has about $100,000 in the RDSP. They must wait 10 years from the date of the government's last contribution to withdraw without penalty. In most cases, you must wait until you are 60 to withdraw funds from the RDSP without penalty. Martinez says by then, they won't be around to help.
Unfortunately, I don't think that he will get to 60 years old.
The penalty for early withdrawals is substantial, 3 times the amount taken out. Martinez says trying to get information on the plan has been frustrating.
If we were told at the very beginning when we sat down with an advisor at the bank that it would have been 60 years, we would never have done it.
It is complex, and again, it's relatively new.
Brendan Pooran's law firm specializes in supporting those with disabilities. He says while the goal of the RDSP is to promote long-term savings, he believes changes to the plan could benefit many families.
There are some creative solutions that the government could potentially consider when it comes to allowing people to access their funds.
Martinez says changes are needed.
I'm pretty sure there are more families like us that are in the same situation.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Returning now to our coverage of the Iran war and the impact here in Canada. Canadians could soon get a break at the gas pumps. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more.
The International Energy Agency says it will release 400 million barrels of oil, which will be the largest release it's ever done. The oil will come from the reserves of countries that are part of the agency, including Canada. More than 1.2 billion barrels are held as emergency stock. Oil, of course, in short supply with tankers backed up at the Strait of Hormuz because of the Middle East conflict. Typically, about 15 million barrels would pass through the strait every day. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar down a fraction to 73.61. West Texas Intermediate up over $3 to 87.25. Western Canadian Select is down over $8 to 68.31, and the TSX lost 150 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
So long he lives, he will keep doing all these athletic activities.
Just ahead, he's 102 years old, and he is still running. We meet the man who just won multiple races at a national track and field competition.
Far side pass, and it's a early shot. He scores!
The Toronto man is proving you're never too old to chase your dreams. CTV's Andrea Case introduces us to an athlete who's still competing and winning at 102 years old.
The 60-meter dash at the Canadian Masters Championships. And they're off. 40 seconds later, and the last to cross the finish line was Atar Singh Sekhon. Not bad for an old man. How old? Sekhon is 102. Through his son, Jakinder Singh Sekhon, Atar says he's feeling very good today. Legally blind and hard of hearing, Jakinder is by his side as a precaution. He had a busy weekend. In addition to the shot put, he took on the 50-meter and 200-meter race, winning each in his age group at a competition for athletes over the age of 35. But at his age, he's the only one in the 100 to 104 category. Sekhon moved to Canada in 1988 at the age of 64 and began exercising in his 70s to stay in shape. But he didn't start competing until 2017 at the age of 94.
He hopes he lives more longer. So long he lives, he will keep doing all these athletic activities.
As a Sikh, Attar says if he is reincarnated, he hopes to return as an even better athlete.
It's easier to raise strong and positive kids than to repair broken adults. If I can do at 102, why not other levels of age people can do these things?
Andrea Case, CTV News.
Well, coming up, a new study looks at raccoons' puzzle-solving skills and their motivations. We'll have more on the surprising findings. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Patricia. We're already starting to see the rainfall warning lifting in parts of Ontario. It is still in place for the Belleville, Kingston area and Brockville area, and the freezing rain warning still also in effect. This should start to clear just past the midnight hour, where things will transition into the chance of flurries, and the freezing rain will likely light up and see more rainfall moving through early this evening into tomorrow morning. Now, here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. Current temperature sitting around -1 right now, showcasing Spark Street. It is a wet and rainy evening here in the capital.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Tanea Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barrhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford dealership, and Ontario's #1 Ford EV dealer.
Tomorrow on CTV Your Morning Ottawa, one local city councillor has some ideas for how we can fix Ottawa's transit system, and she joins us live in studio. Wake up the right way with Your Morning Ottawa, starting at 6.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
A lot to talk about tomorrow morning. All right, a good night for TV tonight, though. E-Talk scrubs The Masked Singer, Fear Factor, House of Fear, and Shark Tank. Here's a recap of the top stories we are following right now.
A very significant event, and it's something that occurs at this time of the year when you get this mix of warm and cold air duking it out.
The impact of the freezing rain being felt right across the region, from canceled school buses to flights. It's also creating power outage situations in Western Quebec.
Fares go up, the taxes go up, but it's like the service goes down.
And the freezing rain causing major disruptions on the O train. LRT Line 1 service partially shut down due to stopped trains and damaged overhead wires.
Grace is being punished because her older sister has a disability.
An Ottawa mom speaking out today because her youngest child was denied a chance to enroll at a French public school due to a policy requiring the eldest child in a family to be evaluated, even though in this family, that is a sibling who has a brain tumor. Some good news on this late in the day. You can read up on that online. Well, a final look at this forecast now, and where are we at with the freezing rain that we've been seeing the last little bit, Jackie?
We're going to start to see the freezing rain taper off well close to midnight, which will transition more into rain with a mix of the freezing rain. By tomorrow morning, there is a slight chance that we could see some flurries moving through. However, it should be mainly cloudy skies. -3, though, is going to be the temperature. And with all the wet precipitation that we've had moving through, we will likely see slick, icy roads and conditions. So keep an eye out for that messy morning commute. -2 is going to be the daytime high for not just Thursday, but for Friday as well. We'll warm up a bit for Saturday around the freezing mark, but the flurries is in the forecast well into Monday, where I think we were not going to likely see sunshine until Tuesday, Wednesday. And I do want to flag Friday, though, Patricia and Kimberly, because we are anticipating the return of snow, and early forecast indicating between 5 to 10 centimeters.
So you have the brush to scrape your car, you got the shovel close by, ready for anything this time of year, for sure. All right, thank you, Jackie. We want to check in on what our team is working on for tonight. Kimberly Fowler will be here at 11:30.
Well, more storm coverage if we need it. So we'll be checking in to see about any cleanup efforts that are going on. And we'll look for any photos or videos that any viewers want to send us. You can do that at ottawaphotos@ctv.ca. And Patricia mentioned earlier in the show, Sens are playing tonight. It's a battle between the Sens and the Habs at the CTC. Ottawa is back home after a perfect 5-0 road trip. And get this, they're 5 points back, closing in on the second wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. So we'll have a recap of tonight's game. And you can get the news anytime, anywhere at ctvnewsottawa.ca. You can join me tonight for CTV News at 11:30.
Got to keep it going here. There's an urgent chance to get that playoff spot. Charging in. All right, and finally for us tonight, raccoons. They have no problem digging through your trash for a bite to eat, but a new study has found that raccoons are actually not always motivated by food. Researchers from the University of British Columbia say that while raccoons can often outsmart latches meant to keep them out of bins, we all know that with the green bins, they may also be solving those puzzles simply for the challenge, even if there is no food reward inside. The study's authors describe the behavior as information foraging that could give them an advantage in complex environments. They are very smart.
Like the streets of downtown, that's the challenge to get into those bins.
Oh,
They're
my
a little
goodness.
too smart sometimes.
And I love the moments when you catch them in action in the light, turn the light on the deck, and they do the freeze thing, right? Where they're like, maybe no one will see me or know what we're up to. Very human-like in their instincts, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Cute, do you think?
No, not at all.
No? Definitely not. Disagree.
No.